Good. How are you?
Doing great. Turn my
Good.
volume a little bit here. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Here we go. All right. You guys can hear me?
Yes.
All right, cool. You guys have a good day?
Not bad.
Yeah,
Not bad. Yeah.
more storms and rain, but I'm sure that is happening for everybody.
Yes,
Yeah.
we had a dandy last
Yeah.
night. Yeah, or this morning. It was about 2:33 in the morning. Man, it was thundering and lightning and crazy. And then gloomy all day.
Yeah, it's been gloomy here all day. We had a little thunderstorm in the morning, but we had a big one at about 2 o'clock, a really ugly one.
Yeah. Wow.
But I appreciate those midday because in the middle of the night, I'm up all night with the dogs because they are crazy when it's
Oh,
stormy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's no fun.
No.
Yeah.
No, we had a good one in the middle of the night, probably the worst storm that we've had in years. And all I heard all day today were chainsaws.
Oh, I
Oh,
bet.
yeah.
Wow. It really got you guys then. We had that a couple weeks ago, so we're better.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. We've had a lot of interesting weather this year, honestly, throughout the whole
Odd.
United States, really. So
I'm crazy,
I know. I'm ready for it to not do that anymore now.
right?
I want a nice long Indian summer.
There you go. Me too.
Yes. I'm hoping. So, well, I think I'm going to get started. And as people pop on, I will allow them in. Obviously, there's the replay too that a lot of you guys watch too. So what I wanted to talk about, as you saw in the title, is we have to eat. Or we're not going to burn fat. We're not going to build muscle. We're not going to get where we want to be. And we're not 25 years old, and so I don't want to be 25 again, but
Actually, neither do I, to be honest.
yeah, right. I'd take the body of a 25-year-old maybe, although I'm in the best shape I have been. So maybe I don't want that. But anyway,
Yeah.
so what I wanted to do is just really talk through that and the reason why we need to eat in order to lose weight. And so when you overdo your calorie restrictions, so you've got these people who are eating, 600 calories, 800 calories, that kind of a thing, and they wonder why they can't lose weight. Your body needs that to function.
Right.
Otherwise you can lose weight with that, but what will happen is you're losing the muscle. So you're still going to have the body fat, but you're not going to have the muscle and you're not going to be lean. You're just going to kind of, they call that skinny fat, right? Yeah. And so food revs up your body's metabolism. It just does. We don't need to eat like a bird at all. And a lot of women still do. There are situations when people are morbidly obese and they have chronic health problems and they need to lose weight to survive, like to live. And so physicians will put them on these 500 calorie diets for a brief period of time,
Right.
in order for them to, either have a surgery to help with that, or, at least get them out of the, like the really bad part. But it's not sustainable to do that for any length of time at all. In fact, it's too long is detrimental. It's not good for your hormones at all. It really affects your adrenal system and your adrenal glands to the point where they don't function. And that's the same with women who are on low calorie diets and eat not very much. They are stalled in their progress. So I really wanted to talk about the reasons why. And metabolism is the mechanism that burns fat. That's what it is if you look it up. And so food is your primary source of fuel for your metabolism. You're not going to get it from anything else.
Nope.
You're not going to, there isn't a special pill or drink or anything that's going to rev it up. And so, like I said, if you restrict it too much, your body thinks it's being starved. It holds on to that fat. So it just stores all that energy because it's afraid you're going to keep starving it. And you break down that muscle tissue And because you're trying to meet your metabolic needs, the energy, the brain function, all of that kind of stuff that you need to live day to day. So losing weight isn't about depriving your body of food. And that's what a lot of people associate a diet with. And I don't like the word diet. It's nutrition. It's how you fuel your body. Yeah. It's about eating the right foods. And you guys know that because you've been working with me and you know that it's important to eat those right foods. So those right foods are, foods high in protein.
Yep.
And fiber. Fiber is huge, low in sugar and fat, the trans fats, all those, not the omega-3s and those kinds of fats, because that's going to keep you satisfied. It's going to give you calories to keep your body operating, and it needs to be operating at peak efficiency because we have jobs, we have family commitments, we have, homes we need to take care of. We're driving a car. I mean, there's things that we need, our calories for. And, but if you're one of those people that you've been watching what you're eating, but you're not seeing a difference on the scale, it's probably because you're not eating enough. And I think we all have found that out. I know I did. And so some of the things that will tell you that you need more food, more calories is you're always thinking about food. That's all you can do is think about food. And I'm not saying that I sometimes still don't think about food all the time, but, if you're eating enough protein and fiber, you're eating breakfast, you're eating a snack, you're eating lunch, and then sometimes people kind of get busy in there, right? And they don't eat that mid-afternoon snack, and then you start to feel kind of sluggish, like you want to just go take a nap. Your stomach starts to growl and all of that. And so if you don't have those handy snacks, where you can get at them, then you kind of go off the wagon and eat the bad stuff too. So if you're always thinking about food and you can't stop, you might not be eating enough. And that goes true even if, I've been doing this for a long time, and there are times where things happen at home and I don't get to that. Life happens, right? And I start to think about food and I'm like, oh my gosh, my blood sugar is going to drop. And then all I can do is like obsess over food. So it's kind of a normal thing. If you're skipping meals, so it's not, if you're skipping meals to lose weight, that's not a good thing. And that's like skipping breakfast. Yeah. A lot of people think if they don't eat breakfast and they eat late, they're going to like fit into those skinny jeans, or they're going to fit into that outfit quicker. I'm not sure why. I know fasting is not a bad thing, honestly, and that's like a whole nother like topic. But what happens with fasting for a lot of people is they fast, but then they're still not eating enough calories during the hours of the day that they should be eating. Mm-hmm. So they're still not eating enough calories to fuel their body. So you can fast because then your body uses up those fat energy stores quickly. But then if you're not eating, and somebody's wanting to be admitted, but I can't. Here we go. All right. Anyway, so fasting is good in a sense, but you still have to eat all those calories in that window of your eating. So what happens when you deprive yourself of those calories, you're going to binge, right? And you're going to go and totally derail off of your plan. And I don't know if that's happened to you guys, but if, not so much now for me, but if I skip meals and I don't eat, the first thing I see at home, unless it's like glued to the table, I'm going to go grab. And it's usually not something healthy, right? It's usually kids leave some chips or whatever. Yeah. Hey, Mary, how are you? Hi. Karen's on too. Nice to see you guys here. We started a little bit already. I think I have you all admitted now, which is good. So we're just talking about the importance of eating enough food and having enough fuel in your body to burn fat, lose weight, and also build that lean muscle, which of course is burning that fat and stuff. And it's important to eat. Some signs that you're not eating enough, we just talked about. First thing is you're always thinking about food. That's all you can do is think about food. Or if you're skipping meals and then you're binging later. Another thing that will happen is if you're having a lot of headaches, right? So frequent, strong headaches can be a sign of low blood sugar. If you've ever had that, or you get kind of dizzy, what happens to me is I'll get a little dizzy and then my stomach just doesn't feel very, very good. And that's because blood sugar is dropping. And your brain needs sugar, it needs fuel to function. So those unexplained headaches could definitely be food. It could be dehydration too. It could be not enough water. Feeling shaky, dizzy, lightheaded, all of that blood sugar has dropped. And so then when I talk to you guys about eating consistently through the day, it's to keep your blood sugar like this, not like this.
Yep.
So if you eat a donut in the morning, you're going to go boom. And then all of a sudden you're going to go like this, right? That's really, yeah, that's not good. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So, so some of those quick snacks for you to grab would be, you know, a piece of fruit or some cheese, just to get that glucose level up again. So you can start feeling normal and not that lightheaded. If you're feeling exhausted all the time, like if you're so tired, your body needs that food for fuel. So if you feel like you're running on empty, like all day long, you know, sometimes we are tired, like after a really hard workout, or, you know, we've been out doing some yard work all day, you know, you do feel tired that way. But if you're just exhausted day after day after day, it could be we need to increase your calories. Okay. So again, we have to use high protein, high fiber, right? And that includes breakfast. So a lot of people don't eat breakfast. I don't know why. That's my favorite time. Our favorite meal is breakfast. I love it. And a mid-morning snack, cottage cheese, yogurt, a handful of nuts, you know, things like that. So it's all about keeping that blood sugar going like this throughout the day, all day long. So another thing that may happen if you're not eating enough food is you're irritated. You're just irritable and you're agitated. That happens to me. When I'm hungry, I get really crabby. It's just, you might not be getting enough food, and that's that blood sugar dropping, and you just want to like, my husband gets like that too. Yeah. And when you're feeling hungry, you're less likely to control yourself. So that's when you start to grab those things that are quick, but not so healthy for you. So have those snacks around. Watching what you eat, of course, is super important, but you need to still maintain and consume enough calories for your body. So that's a fine line. And so that's why I look at your activity level, look at obviously your age, your height, your weight, you know, what your goals are, all that kind of stuff. And that's how we figure out calories. Now, sometimes as we go along, if you are feeling really tired and dragged out, we'll start to increase your calories a little bit. And people freak out by that. Like, oh my God, that's too many calories. But honestly, what you'll find is you're going to rev up your metabolism even more, and your body is asking for that. And so you tend to drop body fat, your metabolism obviously goes up. And so more body fat, more inches lost, not muscle, more inches, maybe a little bit more weight. So it's just that fine line that we're working with. So anyway, so a lot of women too, and you guys can talk to, just let me know if you want to say something, but I hear a lot of women blame hormones for weight loss challenges. And it's true. So like menopause, right? We don't lose weight like we used to do because our hormones, our estrogen, progesterone, testosterone have, dropped off a little bit. But really, menopause does not cause weight gain. What it does is it causes that body fat to shift in our, usually up into the belly a little bit more than normal, right? And so hormones do play a role with weight loss challenges, but it's not the cause of it. So to say, oh, I'm 20 pounds heavier because of menopause, usually what happens is as we get older, our activity levels drop a little bit. We start to, we're retiring from work. We're not chasing around little kids anymore. And so our activity level slows. We have a little bit more free time. We might socialize more. We're eating more. We're drinking more. And that kind of happens at the same time that menopause hits. So So it's just trying to work in harmony, and every woman's a little different. And so we have to pivot and turn and find out what works. So, but knowing how to use food and putting it all together, you know, to keep in balance is really the difference between like reaching your goals where you want to be and remaining stuck and being frustrated and all of that. So we just need to keep that metabolism fired up and not so sluggish. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's really eating a balance of lean proteins, low glycemic complex carbohydrates. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and beneficial fats, which is going to create and help you sustain consistent high levels of energy and metabolism. So Mary is a go-getter. That lady never sits still. Do you, Mary?
No.
No. So she's been learning how to eat more, right? Keep yourself fueled and everything. So yeah, it's a process, isn't it? You're doing fantastic.
Well, I think some of I haven't had hot flashes, and now I'm having hot flashes again.
Oh,
I don't know if it brought it back with me being so active and with my diet and everything that I'm doing now. So just once in a while I'm going, oh God, I feel the heat coming up again. I'm going like, I thought I was over this. So I don't know. Maybe that, I don't know. I don't know why.
you know what I'm thinking it is? I think it's your metabolism. So you're doing more weights. You are a very active woman anyway. And what I believe is you're eating different foods and your metabolism is rock. I mean, you were doing really well. You're losing weight. You're losing inches. You look fantastic. Now, you're going to be how old now?
I'm sick. I just turned 67.
Yeah. So I know it's not, I don't think it's the hot flashes coming back. I think your hormones, like your testosterone and stuff's probably up a little bit because you're doing all these things. So we'll just keep an eye on it, because you are past that point that they would come back. You know, it's not like they go away and they come back, but I think you're really firing, your metabolism's on fire, if you will, because I'm feeling a little bit more lately too. And I think I have a little bit more stress in my life right now. So I think that's a big part of it. And I don't know if you're feeling more stressed too, but that could be too, but
Here and there, but also they lowered my blood pressure. I went from a 2.0, I'm down to 0.10 on my blood pressure medicine. They lowered it down because I went to the doctor and he goes, you're like 90/60. He goes, that's too low. So they lowered it down.
right. So maybe you need to get off it.
Well, I'm checking it now, and he says, keep checking it and see how it goes.
Good.
And eventually I could get off of it
Yeah.
because I'm trying to eat the right foods. I'm keeping active, and doing what I can. So
Mm-hmm.
For
Good.
you.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
It
She's-
Great job.
that's all the medicine I take. Thank God.
yeah. And then hopefully you won't even have to take that because you're doing really, really well.
That'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, when we talk about the lean protein and fats and the carbs, all of that's going to support those blood sugar levels. You're going to get optimal fat burning. It's going to improve this up here. You're going to be more focused. And it's just like it improves your overall health and well-being. And so what I wanted to do is just kind of go into those macronutrients and how eating those foods and enough of those foods, enough calories, what each of those does for you to do that. So I know we've talked about macros in the past, but it was more about what are they? And so we already know, we'll say the first macronutrient are those complex low glycemic carbohydrates. So 40 to 50% of each meal should be those carbohydrates. Yeah, which is, that's a lot. And people want to be on these low carb diets all the time. They are sluggish. There's no energy. And you know what? The thing that I see, and I'm sure you guys have experienced or have seen, is they're not life sustaining. You can't live like that.
No.
That's not living your life the way you need to live it. You can't live under a rock and eat 20 grams of carbs every day.
Yeah, I tried that, and it was just, I was druggish. I didn't want to do anything.
Yep,
I wanted to be a couch potato.
exactly.
And that's
And then
not me.
Right. And you're not going to, and what's going to happen is you're going to lose some weight, but you're losing muscle because you have no energy to go out and do anything else. So,
Well, I was getting
Um,
headaches and everything else too.
right. So those carbohydrates provide our bodies with fuel in the form of sugar for burning, for energy burning, like activity, brain and muscle activity. Our brain is a muscle, right? It also, carbohydrates help us release a brain chemical called serotonin, which I'm sure you've heard of, and that supports having a positive mood. So if you're depressed, they give you medicines, depression medications, right? Antidepressant medications to increase your serotonin. But when we have that, those healthy carbohydrates, that does the same thing. And it also helps our sleep. So you think of these people with these low carb diets, and I'm talking like keto or whatever, you know, they don't sleep very good and they're crabby as hell, you know? And, you know, as carbohydrates break down in the body, they release the blood sugar into the bloodstream, gives us our energy, right? At the same time, then insulin is released, which counteracts the blood sugar from not going so high. And so how quickly that insulin reacts to those carbohydrates really depends on what carbohydrate you're eating. So when you eat a simple carbohydrate, like a donut, I'm just going to use that. It's going to break down really quickly. So insulin is released like boom. And then what happens is your body like stifles the fat burning system. It I can't talk. It depresses the release of muscle building hormones. It raises cholesterol and it challenges your immune system. Okay. And so you feel the effects of that sugar high, like you've got all this energy. Think of a kid who's just had some candy, right? Bouncing all over the place. Boom, 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 boom. But then what happens is, boom, they crash. And so do we as adults, right? But when you eat a complex carbohydrate, so a sweet potato, jasmine rice, you know, those examples, those foods break down slowly. Insulin then is released slowly. And so what happens then is it gives us long-term sustained energy. So you don't feel the sugar spike, and then you don't dive down into that where you just crash. And when you crash, you end up craving foods, right? And so you're not going to do that when you eat those complex carbohydrates that break down slower than a donut, a candy bar, chocolate, you know, those kinds of things. And so when you eat those foods, you're up and down and up and down, and you keep feeding yourself other bad things because it triggers cravings, right? And that's when you gain all that weight. Does that make sense?
Is dark chocolate better for you than
Yeah,
white?
it really is, because the cocoa is a little, it doesn't have as much sugar if you look at like the ingredients. Yeah. Now you can overdo that too, just like anything.
Right.
But yeah, I love dark chocolate. I try not to have it here in the house, but once in a while. It's more the cocoa, kind of like the 70%, because I do like a little bit of that. My problem is when I know that it's here, I have it a little bit more than I should. So
It's just one more.
So, okay, if that all makes sense, right? So you got to have enough carbs in your diet, and you need to have 40 to 50% of every meal should have your carbohydrates. So think about that. So the next one is your lean protein. So 25 to 40% of each meal should be a protein. Okay. Now, when you talk about protein and 25 to 40%, anything more than about 30 grams of protein in a single serving is really difficult to totally absorb or digest in the body. So I always recommend about 25 to 30, like 100 grams of chicken breast. Like if you weigh it, that's about 32 grams of protein. That's about as much as you should have at one sitting. Now, what happens sometimes to me too is because I'm eating later, because the stepsons are in sports, I end up eating too much protein, and I just don't sleep very well then. So I have to be really diligent about breaking that up. But protein is an essential element in your body for creating that balance. So the main function of protein is our building blocks. Protein is made up of amino acids. And those are the building blocks of muscle. This is all science. This isn't something that's made up, you know. And it's also vitally important for your hormones. It's important to have for synthesis of your enzymes and your immune function to your body. So when people are eating low carbohydrate, they're not really eating a lot of protein. They're just not eating much at all. They're sicker people too, because it really affects their immune system. Protein actually also helps balance your blood sugar. And the reason why that is, it's a catalyst for the release of glucagon. Okay, that's a little kind of a sugar, if I had to be trying to give you an example, but just think of it as a little bit of a sugar, and it plays an opposite role of insulin. Insulin kind of decreases your blood sugar, right? Kind of keeps them at a normal level, where glucagon will raise it, but it's different than like a sugar, that carbohydrate. It's just called glucagon. So it's really important to have those proteins. It also helps the body to mobilize fat that we store, because we want to use that to fuel our bodies to burn body fat. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It helps. Okay. So you want to choose lean proteins, of course, like your chicken. I know you all eat a lot of chicken. So lean cuts of meat. The turkey, lean turkey, 93%, you know, fat, like only 7% fat. No,
Right.
it's 97 and 3. No, it's, what do I get? 93%, 7% fat. Yeah. So you want a higher with lower fat meats.
Right.
Not that, you know, like salmon is different because it has omega-3s versus like a fatty piece of pork.
Right.
Or ham. Ham doesn't have a lot of protein in it at all. And it's just a little more salty too. So, so lean proteins versus higher fat versions, it's going to support your metabolism again, help with digestion and all of that. So, so the right proteins are important. Obviously your animal sources, right? Lean meats, poultry, fish, eggs, yogurt. Some of your vegetable sources have good protein, like tofu, soy, like soy protein powders, tempeh. You have to just be careful because those vegetable-based proteins also have a significant level of carbohydrates. So not that you can't have them, but you want to watch that too. And it could offset your balance of what you need
Right.
as far as your calories and your macro divisions. So that's why vegetarians struggle sometimes, because they don't eat the animal proteins, which gives them just protein. They're using the beans, you know, the legumes and all of that. And so they tend to struggle a little bit more with getting more lean quicker. So that's quite a balance. Now they can use the tempeh and the tofu and stuff, which helps them a lot. Some vegetarians, I can't keep which one does what, but sometimes they'll eat fish, sometimes they eat eggs, sometimes I don't know. I can't keep it straight.
Yeah. Vegans are like
None.
nothing, no animal products at all. No butter, no dairy.
Okay.
Yeah. So vegetarians is pretty much no meat. They might eat butter, they might eat eggs, cheese, that kind of thing. But the vegans are absolutely
Yeah.
any of it.
Yeah. And I think some say they're vegans, but yet they do eat fish. No. That's what confuses me.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, I'm a vegetarian, but.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And nothing against, you know, everybody can, you know, but it's just very well known. It's much more difficult to lose body fat if you're a vegetarian or a vegan without those animal proteins and stuff like that. So anyway, so the last macronutrient, and this is super important too, are those essential fats. So 20 to 30% of each meal should have some type of fat. So a lot of people, and still do, is you have to eat fat to burn fat. And so fats are necessary for body function. So it protects your organs. It helps from heat loss, because you need your body, your core needs to be kept warm. Fat supports and protects certain organs, right? And it's normal for growth and development. You have to have healthy fats in order to support your hormones as an adult, but it's also good for growth and development. And so when you eat fats in conjunction with carbohydrates, fats help conserve the protein as well that you're eating. So that's important. And there are different fats. There's your trans fats and all those kinds of things. And so the good fats are the ones that we want, your essential fats. So like the omega-3s, they have an effect on your cholesterol levels, and they play a significant role in protecting you from diseases and immune challenges. So healthy fats are really, really, really important. So you can find omegas in fish and nuts. So fish as in salmon, but in other fish too. Healthy fats like the omega-3s and some omega-6s will help decrease your blood pressure, and it will prevent heart attacks and strokes. So that's super important as well. It's all about staying healthy. And honestly, if you don't have healthy fats, again, you're not going to have any energy. Your metabolism is going to go down. So it's super important to have a variety of all three of those macronutrients. Other things too, if you don't have healthy fats, I mean, like your skin is going to get dry or become dry, your hair is going to be brittle, you're going to have those premature signs of aging. And so having those fats in combination with, your carbohydrates and your proteins is important, because you know what, they all play a role in your body.
Yeah.
So I know that when I tell you guys to eat and eat more, it's like, oh my God, I can't eat anymore. I'm just so full. But your metabolism is going to get a kick. It's going to jumpstart your weight loss. And you guys have found that out.
Uh-huh.
It jumpstarts, and you're going to hang on to that muscle. So you want to hang on to muscle and burn fat. That is the goal of what we need to do. So you're going to become strong. You're going to reach the goals that you have set for yourself. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. But in turn, you're learning all this stuff that maybe you knew before, but sometimes you just need a review that will lead you into that next chapter, right? And so you're learning all the really healthy lifestyle habits that will keep you moving in the right direction. So this stuff doesn't change. This is just the way our bodies work. And so I was, I didn't want to believe this stuff for a long time because I was able to lose weight and do things when I was younger. But as I got older, like into my mid 40s, I was like, I need to do something different, right? And so that's when I really started to try and learn and experiment with myself, and it works. Like, it's amazing how eating all those good things will transform your body. And these fad diets don't work. People do get results from them. It's not that you don't get results from a diet, a keto, or I don't know. There's so many of them.
South Beach,
But-
Atkins.
but they're not life sustaining, because you're not learning the whys and the hows as to what you're doing and why you're doing it and the effect that it's having on your body. So you can all attest to feeling better, having more energy, sleeping really good, and you're able to see those results. And yes, sometimes we have to pivot and move it around a little bit, and that's okay, because that's just the way we are, right? And everybody's a little bit different. But your carbohydrates, your fats, and your proteins, they just do this for your body, and they need to work together. They have to work together. You can't have just carbohydrates and fats without protein. That doesn't make any sense, because you're not going to build lean muscle to burn fat. It's just the way your bodies work. So that's why it's important to look at your calories and then your macros at the same time. And, you know, I know it's not easy to keep track of everything and it can be a pain in the butt. And I don't like to do it either, but, and you don't, you know, as you go along, if you miss one day, you kind of know what you're doing, but I would recommend that you do it as much as you possibly can, because what happens when you don't, and I've done this, is my portions get bigger and larger. And I think I know, like, oh, that looks like a cup. Well, you know, it's not. It's 2 cups. And so, you know, I mean, we're human, right? And so it's really important to try and stick to doing some kind of, you know, monitoring of yourself. It's hard to do that when you're on vacation or you're out.
That's
so,
like a yeah,
what's that?
cross-size cup. That looks like a B cup.
Yeah.
It's not.
You know, like when you go out to eat, you know, you do have to do a visual, right? So
Yeah.
it's the way it is. And, but I mean, my family makes fun of me when I measure my food. Oh, Diana's got to measure her food. It's like, yeah, I do. You know, like, who cares? Like, you know, it's just something I do. And when you get into that habit, it's just, everybody just kind of may make fun of you and I don't care. But then they can make fun of me, but I'm the one that's feeling better and I'm feeling really good and they're not. So, oh, well.
And you're the one they come to with questions.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, it's so true.
And what's funny though, they'll say like 20 berries is a cup. And I've done 20 berries and 20 berries. It's not always a cup.
That's right.
And I'm, you know, the fruit's different. You know, I'm going like, I'll do grapes. Oh, it says like so many of these are a cup. And I went like, no, it's not. You know, so I'm going 1, 2.
That's like I know exactly how many grams of fat 11 almonds are. You know, like it's kind of weird, right? We're like the 10% of the population that does this, but
Is it 7?
What's that?
7
grams? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like 7 or 8, something like that. Yeah. So, and you also have to realize too, when you're looking at a nutrition label, it's not always what it says.
Correct.
So I tend to look at my Fitness Pal and play around in there, and I'll look at the label, and it is different, and you can figure that out yourself. So a gram of fat has 9 calories. So if it says 9 grams of fat, that's 80, whatever is it? 9 times 9, 81 calories, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 1 gram of protein and 1 gram of carb is 4 calories.
Okay.
So you can figure all that stuff out yourself. Not that you want to always spend the time, but if you're really thinking about and something doesn't make sense, just do the math. I mean,
Interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that's why fats are good. They're higher calorie. And so eating a half a bag of nuts is probably like half of your calorie intake that day.
That's where
that's why it's good to measure them, because otherwise you have a bag sitting there and you're just eating them.
I struggle with fat intake.
Okay.
Throughout. You know, it's just, I don't know why I've become protein focused.
Yeah. So let me tell you, so when you're planning your meals, do your carbohydrates first. So if you have, like I do 150 carbohydrates every day, I divide that by my meals depending on the day. So I plan those first. Then I plan my protein, my grams of protein. So, and the reason why I do this, so carbohydrates, some have some protein in it. I don't think there's any carbohydrates that have fat. So it does have protein. So then you go and you find out your proteins next, and then you do your fats, because some proteins have fats.
Right.
Right. And so you do your fats last.
Okay.
So I use avocado for my fats mainly, just because I love it.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
That's what gets me there.
Yeah.
Every day is the avocado.
Yeah,
I've never
that
eaten
helps.
avocados in my life, but I love them.
Yeah, me too.
They're so good for you. I know it's
I've been
so
eating
good.
more avocados lately. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
my
them.
problem though, go ahead.
No, that was it.
My problem is if I have nuts or like cheese, if I don't watch it, I have to take a certain amount If not, I'll be at work at my desk eating, and then all of a sudden the bag of nuts is gone.
Yeah.
I'm going, oh my God. You know,
Yes.
the cheese. I'll have a thing of cheese and I'll slice it, you know, and I'll eat one little piece, work, eat a piece, and I'll look. So I have to make sure that it's out of sight, out of mind. If
Right,
not, I'll eat the whole thing. And that was my problem before of weight gain. I
right.
called it grazing.
It is. Yeah.
I grazed all day long. And,
Yep.
and that's the reason I got up to 176 and I just went, no.
Right. Right. Because you don't even realize it. You don't even realize it. Like you know, college students too, when they start, they're just so focused on their studies and they eat at the same time because they're trying to stay awake, and they gain weight because they're more sedentary too. And then they're cooking and eating for themselves and they lose track. Yeah. Yeah. So, and we do it too. It's just like, okay, these are my nuts, and you can bite them in half and just savor them. Let me tell you, I know I've done that all.
Right.
Like a squirrel, right? So hopefully this helps you guys understand the importance of eating enough for your body and how these all play a role in developing those calories. Does it all make sense? I mean, obviously this is being recorded, so I want everybody to hear that, because there are, some of us do struggle with that. Like, you mean I have to eat 1,400 calories? I can only get to 1,200. Okay, well, let's increase if you have a few more fats, that your calories will go up a little bit more, but we also want to make sure you get enough protein. And I know protein is really hard for us women to get in. It's meat sources and things like that. But do your carbs first, then your proteins, and then your fats. So that'll help you reach the macros and your calories a little bit easier.
Should have seen me on Friday with the 2,400 calories. I did
Yeah,
nothing
that's right.
all day long. I was a slug.
So Jody is doing calorie and carb cycling, just like you did, Pam, where you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, Jody. That's the toughest day ever. Is that high day?
I'm like, I just finished eating lunch. Now it's 2 apples, a little while later, a couple nectarines. I'm like, jeepers.
Yeah. It's a process that you'll see the difference. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's not easy either, especially like the lower calorie, low carb. I think that's harder for me because I like my carbs.
Saturday, Sunday is what we did drop down to 1,400 calories with 8 grams of carbs for each day. I was like, what?
Yeah, those are hard too, Jody.
I think I hit 20. I mean, it was 20 and maybe 22 one of the days.
That's
it was
not too bad. That's pretty good. And you guys are, it's a learning thing too. And not everybody can do that. Mm-hmm. It does do something different to your body. And that's why you don't do that forever. That's just, you'll never be able to sustain that. That's too hard. Yeah.
I like fruit. I can't.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do too. So hopefully you guys found this helpful.
Yes.
I will, it's being recorded, of course. I'm going to post it in the groups. If you want to watch it again, feel free to do that and share with the ladies in the group, make some comments underneath it and all that good stuff too. So,
will do.
All right.
All right. I work out.
All right. Eat, keep eating. Bye guys.
Bye-bye.